Hello, friends. Welcome to a journey that could change the way you think about success forever. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth, opportunities, and happiness even when they start with nothing? Today, we'll discover the story of someone who unlocked the power of their mind and grew rich. This is not just a story. It's a path, a map, a new way of thinking. Part 1. The beginning of belief. Daniel sat alone at his kitchen table, the ticking clock the only sound in the room. Bills were stacked like bricks, and hope felt like a faraway dream. He wasn't lazy. He worked hard at the store. But no matter how much he tried, success seemed unreachable. Each day felt the same. Wake up, go to work, come home tired. Repeat. His heart whispered, there must be more. But his mind answered, maybe this is all I'm meant for. That thought hurt the most, not poverty, but the idea of being stuck forever. Then, one Friday evening, an old friend named Marcus knocked on his door. Marcus had once been just like Daniel, broke and unsure. But now, he wore a sharp suit, carried a calm confidence, and drove a car that turned heads on the street. Marcus, Daniel said, surprised, is that really you? Marcus laughed and stepped inside. Yes, man, it's me. Been a long time. Thought I'd stop by. They sat and talked for hours, catching up. Daniel kept wondering, how did he change so much? Finally, he asked, what happened? You look successful now. Marcus leaned forward and said, I changed the way I think. Everything changed when I read a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Daniel raised an eyebrow. A book did this? Marcus nodded. It's not just any book. It teaches you that thoughts become things. You must believe in your dream before it becomes real. That belief is your starting point. Nothing outside changes until you change what's inside. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Marcus's words kept echoing in his mind. Thoughts become things. He stared at the ceiling. He never believed in magic, but this didn't sound like magic. It sounded like something deeper, something he needed to try. The next morning, Daniel searched for the book online and found a free PDF. He began reading slowly. The words felt like they were written for him. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. His heart beat faster. Maybe this was the key. He began writing his goals on paper. I want to own my own business. I want to earn $10,000 a month. I want to live without fear. At first, the words felt like lies. But something inside him, small but strong, said, keep going. Daniel created a morning routine. Every day he read a page from the book, repeated his goals out loud, and pictured a better future. He felt strange doing it, but he reminded himself of Marcus. If it worked for him, maybe it could work for Daniel too. Weeks passed. Daniel noticed a shift. His energy changed. He spoke differently. He smiled more. People at work noticed. You seem different, his boss said. Daniel nodded. I feel different. Though his job was the same, his thinking wasn't. One evening, he saw an ad online for a free seminar on building a side business. Old Daniel would have ignored it. But now, he signed up immediately. Say yes, then learn how later, he whispered. That became his new rule. At the seminar, he met people with big dreams. Some were just starting. Some were already making money online. He asked questions, took notes, and felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. The kind of hope that burns, not fades. After the event, Daniel found an opportunity to sell digital products. It wasn't easy. He stayed up late learning how it worked. He made mistakes. He lost $100 on ads. But instead of quitting, he said, this is part of the process. I'm learning. He remembered a line from the book. Every failure carries with it the seed of an equal or greater success. So instead of fear, he chose to focus on the lesson. He started adjusting his strategy, trying again and again. 1 month later, Daniel made his first sale. It was only $17, but to him, it was gold. Proof that he could create money with his mind and action. He danced in his room that night, not because of the money, but because his belief had become real. From that point, everything changed. He started waking up early with purpose. He listened to motivational audios while walking to work. He stopped complaining and started planning. The world didn't change, but Daniel did, and that changed everything. He called Marcus. "You were right. It all starts with the mind." Marcus smiled over the phone. "Proud of you, brother. This is just the beginning. The mountain is high, but your feet are moving. Keep climbing." Daniel ended the call and looked in the mirror. For the first time, he saw a man with vision. Not just a worker, not just a dreamer, but a doer. He whispered to himself, "Think and grow rich." And this time, he believed it. Part 2. The Power of Persistence. Daniel now woke each day with fire in his heart. He no longer dragged himself out of bed. Instead, he jumped up, made his coffee, and spoke his goals aloud. "I will earn $10,000 a month. I will become a successful business owner. I will help others rise." But success did not come easy. His second product launch failed. No one clicked his ad. His account was flagged for a policy issue. Doubt returned like a storm cloud. But Daniel remembered a key principle. Success needs persistence, not perfection. He opened his notebook and read the quote he had written weeks ago. "Quitters never win, and winners never quit." He repeated it out loud until it became louder than the fear. "I am not a quitter," he said. "I am a winner in training." Daniel worked his day job and built his business at night. Some nights, he slept only 4 hours. Some days, he felt like giving up. But every time he felt weak, he imagined the life he was building. He saw it in his mind, and that vision kept him going. One day, he met a mentor named Claire in an online group. She had built a 6-figure business from nothing. He messaged her, not expecting a reply. But she answered, "I can help, but you must promise to work harder than you ever have." Daniel agreed without hesitation. Claire gave him homework. Study one business model, master it, and stay consistent for 90 days. No distractions, no switching paths. "Focus is the secret," she said. "Most people fail because they chase too many things." So Daniel chose digital courses. He loved teaching and helping others. He created his first course, Success Mindset for Beginners. He recorded videos with his phone and edited them with free software. It wasn't perfect, but it was his. When he uploaded the course, his hands trembled. What if no one buys it? But Claire reminded him, "Don't focus on sales. Focus on value. If you help people, the money will follow." That night, he made his first $100. Real, honest, earned. He couldn't believe it. "Someone bought my course." He shouted. He ran around the room with joy. The feeling wasn't just about money, it was proof. His ideas had value. His voice mattered. He wasn't invisible anymore. Claire told him, "Now repeat, improve, market better, serve more." Daniel obeyed. He spent weekends learning marketing. He studied emails, funnels, headlines. He watched what successful people did and copied their habits, not just their tactics. He began waking at 5 a.m., reading one success book per week and journaling every day. He created a weekly plan and stuck to it, even when results were slow. The old Daniel would have quit. But the new Daniel had grit, and grit was his secret weapon. His coworkers noticed. "You've changed," they said. "You seem ... driven." Daniel smiled. "I found something worth building." He didn't brag. He didn't preach. But deep down, he knew he was building more than income. He was building himself. On day 60, he faced his biggest setback yet. His ad account was banned without warning. his traffic disappeared. Sales dropped to zero. For 2 days, he was silent. Then, he stood up, stared in the mirror, and said, "This won't break me." He emailed Claire, and she replied, "Entrepreneurs don't avoid problems. They solve them. Create a new account. Test new traffic. Find another way." Those words hit hard. Daniel realized that growth wasn't about avoiding pain, it was about rising through it. He opened a new ad account. He reworked his course offer. He started a YouTube channel to build an audience. The first video got 9 views, then 14, then 22. He didn't stop. Every video was a brick, every comment a signal. Keep building. 3 months later, Daniel had earned $3,200 from his course. Not millions, but freedom was forming, slowly, steadily, one block at a time. He used the money to pay his bills, reinvest in tools, and take his mother to dinner. For the first time in years. He sat with his mom at their favorite diner. She smiled, proud but curious. "Where is all this coming from?" He answered gently, "From the mind, from belief, from never giving up." She held his hand and whispered, "Your father would be proud." That night, Daniel wrote a note in his journal. Success does not belong to the smartest. It belongs to the most persistent. He taped it to his wall. Every morning, it reminded him, stay focused, stay consistent, stay committed. He knew he was still at the start, but now he had tools, habits, a mentor, a path, and most of all, he had uncheckable belief. He smiled and said, "I'm not just thinking rich, I'm becoming rich one step at a time." Part 3. The Battle Within. Daniel's business was growing, but something inside him started to shake. Not his skills, not his knowledge, but his emotions. As the money grew, so did the pressure. He started asking himself, "Am I good enough to keep this going?" Doubt returned not from failure, but from success. It whispered, "You just got lucky. This won't last." Daniel was shocked. Why am I scared now when things are finally working? That night, he opened Think and Grow Rich and searched for answers. He found a section on fear, the fear of loss, fear of criticism, fear of poverty. These fears live in the mind, the book said, and they kill more dreams than failure ever could. Daniel sat still, realizing that success demands strength inside. He decided to train his mind, not just his business. Every morning he wrote affirmations. I am worthy. I deserve success. I trust myself. It felt strange at first. But like lifting weights, the more he practiced, the stronger he felt. One morning, while journaling, he faced a deep truth. He was afraid of becoming someone his old friends wouldn't recognize. What if I lose them? He wondered. But another thought answered, what if you inspire them? That idea gave him peace. At work, people started asking questions. How are you doing this? Can you teach me? Daniel smiled and offered advice. He never bragged. He never acted better. But he knew his story could spark belief in others. That became his new mission. One of his coworkers, Anna, was struggling with debt. Daniel stayed late one evening to show her how to start a side hustle. This is what helped me, he said. It all starts with changing how you think. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you. Helping others gave him purpose beyond money. He realized wealth isn't only cash, it's freedom, confidence, service. That shift made him stronger. He wasn't chasing dollars. He was building a life filled with value for himself and others. But not everyone supported him. A childhood friend mocked his videos. You think you're some guru now? Daniel felt the sting. That night, he almost deleted his channel. But then he remembered Claire's words. Criticism means you're doing something bold. He made a new video the next day. Not to fight back, but to help more people. He titled it, How I overcame self-doubt and built my first income online. It was raw, honest, and real. The video went semi-viral. Over 5,000 views in 1 week. Comments poured in. Thank you for this. I needed to hear this today. Your story is my story, Daniel cried reading them. Not because of the numbers, but because his pain had helped others grow. That was a deeper kind of wealth. Claire messaged him. This is who you are now, a leader. Never forget that. Daniel wrote it down and pinned it to his desk. I am a leader. I rise so others can rise too. The more he gave, the more he grew. His impact was now his income. By the end of the month, his YouTube channel brought in $700. His course sales reached $4,000. For the first time, he earned more from his passion than from his job. But more important than the numbers was his belief it was now unbreakable. One Sunday, he walked by the store where he used to work. It was closed. He looked through the glass, remembering the tired version of himself, lost, scared, unsure. He whispered, "Thank you for that season, but I'm not that man anymore." He quit his job the next week, not out of pride, but purpose. He thanked his boss and coworkers, telling them, "This place taught me discipline. Now I'm ready for the next chapter." They hugged him, some with tears in their eyes. With full-time hours now available, Daniel created his second course. He hired a part-time editor. He started a podcast to share success stories. Everything he did was built on one idea: help people grow, inside and out. He even wrote his own guidebook, The Mindset Blueprint, and offered it as a free gift to his subscribers. His email list grew to 3,000 people. He learned that attention is power, and serving that attention is how you build real wealth. Still, the battle within never ended. Some days he woke up tired. Some nights he felt lonely. But now he had tools. He had reminders. He had purpose. And every time doubt returned, he faced it like a warrior, not with anger, but with truth. He wrote a new note and taped it to the wall beside his bed. I am not my fear. I am my vision. That note became his shield. Because now, Daniel wasn't just thinking rich. He was growing rich in mind, in heart, and in impact. Part 4. Vision to Reality. Daniel's life looked nothing like it had a year ago. He no longer set an alarm for work. He woke up because he wanted to, not because he had to. His mornings were calm reading, journaling, planning. His time now belonged to his vision, not a paycheck. But success brought new choices. With more freedom came more distractions. Friends invited him out more often. Opportunities popped up every week. Start this new side hustle, some ads promised. Invest here. Trade that. The noise was real. Daniel almost jumped into a new shiny offer. But he stopped himself. He opened his journal and read Claire's rule again. Stay focused. No chasing. Build one mountain at a time. That rule had built his foundation. He wasn't going to break it now. So he doubled down on his brand. He upgraded his YouTube gear. He launched a new series, Mindset Mondays. Every video gave simple, clear tips on success habits, belief systems, and focus. Views grew, but more important, so did connection. One message stood out: Daniel, your video saved my life. I was depressed, but now I'm reading and building again. That day, Daniel cried not from sadness, but purpose. His pain had become someone else's light. That was impact. That was legacy. He began planning a free online workshop. Not to sell, but to serve. Give value first, Claire had taught him. So he did. Over 300 people signed up. He taught for 2 hours straight, answering questions, sharing steps, and lifting minds. After the event, many asked how to learn more. That night, he launched his membership group, Growth Circle, a private space where people could get coaching, lessons and motivation every week. 50 people joined the first week. Daniel made $1,500 in one day. But more than that, he created a tribe, a space where belief grew like a garden. Inside Growth Circle, people shared wins, failures, fears, and breakthroughs. It became more than business. It became a family. With money flowing and purpose growing, Daniel did something bold. He bought his first house, a small, cozy home with a room for recording, a backyard for peace, and a kitchen his mother loved. He invited her to live with him. She cried with joy. As he walked through the empty rooms the first day, he whispered, "I built this with thoughts, with belief, with daily action." He remembered the tiny room where he once felt stuck. Now he stood free in a house built by a new mindset. He printed and framed 3 words on his office wall: think, act, rise. Every day he looked at them and asked, "What can I think better today? What can I act on today? Where can I rise?" Those 3 questions became his compass. He still faced challenges. Sometimes sales dropped. Sometimes doubt returned. But now Daniel knew success is not a straight line. It's a cycle of belief, action, adjustment, and persistence. And the more he embraced the process, the faster he grew. One evening, Marcus visited again. They sat in Daniel's new home, laughing about the past. Marcus looked around and said, "You did it, man." Daniel smiled and replied, "I'm doing it. Still growing, still serving, still climbing." Marcus nodded. "You should write your story one day." Daniel paused, then said, "Maybe I will. But for now, I want to help more people write theirs." That night, Daniel outlined a course not just on mindset, but on building a life of purpose. The course became his biggest success yet. Vision to Reality. The Mindset Method sold over 500 copies in 3 months. The testimonials poured in. People were starting businesses, changing habits, and healing from self-doubt. He realized something powerful. Success multiplies when shared. Every person he helped became another light. Every light lit another path. Daniel was no longer just growing rich, he was creating wealth for others too. He booked his first speaking event. Nervous but excited, he stood on stage and told his story. The crowd listened, silent and wide-eyed. "You don't need to be born lucky," he told them. "You just need to believe, start small, and never stop." After the event, a teenager came up. "Do you think someone like me can do this?" Daniel looked him in the eye and said, "I was just like you. Start with one belief, then one habit. The rest will follow." That moment reminded Daniel why he started. He drove home in silence, heart full. He no longer needed proof that the process worked. His life was proof. His students were proof. His journey from broke and lost to bold and free was proof. He had turned vision into reality. Part 5. From Success to Significance. Daniel no longer chased money. It came naturally now. Courses, coaching, and content brought consistent income. But something inside shifted. He asked himself, what does this all mean if I'm not making a real difference in the world? He opened his journal and wrote, "I don't just want to be successful. I want to be significant." That sentence lit a fire in him. He had built a strong life, but now he wanted to build a lasting impact, one that would live beyond him. He thought of all the young Daniels in the world, people feeling stuck, lost, unsure. He decided to create a scholarship fund from a portion of his profits. His mission was clear: help 1,000 people start their personal growth journey. He launched the Rise Up Fund. For every course sold, $10 went into the fund. He partnered with schools and youth centers. He didn't need headlines, he needed hearts. And the smiles of the first 20 students he helped were worth more than gold. But Daniel didn't stop there. He began mentoring 5 young people each month completely free. He called it Impact 5. Every week, they met on Zoom. He taught them about habits, belief, money, and mindset. Slowly, he watched them transform. One of his mentees, Malik, went from failing grades to launching a tutoring channel. "You believed in me before I did," Malik said. Daniel smiled. "Sometimes we just need one person to say, 'You can.'" That became Daniel's new daily goal. Still, not everyone celebrated him. Online hate grew with his audience. Some said he was fake. Others mocked his simple language. But Daniel didn't respond with anger. He responded with consistency, because results speak louder than critics. He remembered what Claire told him long ago: leaders don't fight noise, they raise their signal. So Daniel stayed loud with his purpose. Every post, podcast, and product was a message. You are more powerful than you think. He traveled to speak at local events, schools, community centers, small business groups, one story, one step at a time. He never charged for his talks. Why? Because every room held a younger version of himself, someone who needed hope more than hacks. Daniel's podcast reached 50,000 downloads. His email list passed 10,000. But instead of bragging, he said this: "Every number is a person. Every person is a world. I speak to one, not the crowd." That mindset kept him grounded and humble. He bought his mother a new car, not flashy, reliable, and safe. She cried when she saw it. "This is too much," she said. "You've done more than enough." Daniel replied, "You believed in me when no one else did. This is just a thank you." As the Growth Circle community hit 500 members, Daniel began hosting live monthly calls. People from around the world joined: Spain, India, Kenya, Brazil. Different voices, same goal: grow from the inside out. His message had become a movement. But with growth came new fears. Could he keep this going? Was he enough to lead so many? One night, he sat under the stars, full of doubt. Then he smiled. "This feeling means I'm growing again." He welcomed the fear like an old friend. He opened Think and Grow Rich again, reading a line he had underlined years ago: "Every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." It wasn't just a quote, it was a law, one he had lived, one he now taught. Daniel began writing his first book, Small Steps, Big Shifts. Not a theory book, a journey book, simple language. Real stories, clear steps, a mirror for anyone starting from zero. He poured his heart into every chapter. No fluff, only truth. When the book launched, it hit thousands of downloads in the first week. But Daniel didn't care about charts. He cared about the one message that read, "I was about to give up. Your book gave me strength." That was everything to him. He created a new vision board. Not with cars or cash, but with lives changed. Smiling faces, students graduating, messages of hope. He knew that real wealth was not just what you earned, it was what you gave back while growing. At a major seminar, Daniel shared the stage with top entrepreneurs. He was the youngest speaker there. When he finished his talk, the room gave a standing ovation. One host whispered, "You didn't just teach today, you healed people." That night, Daniel sat alone in his hotel room. He whispered the same words that started his journey: think and grow rich. But now, those words meant more. Not just grow rich in money, but in love, service, courage, and legacy. Part 6. The Legacy Mindset. Years had passed since Daniel first sat in that quiet cafe dreaming of a better life. Now he stood on stages, led communities, and helped thousands change their thinking. But he never forgot where it all started, with one thought, one book, one belief. Daniel began mentoring future leaders, not just to make money, but to carry a message. Your voice matters, he told them. Your pain can become purpose. Your vision is someone else's breakthrough. He was now planting trees he might never sit under. He launched a school program that gave mindset training to teens. Simple lessons, short videos, real stories. Within 6 months, over 40 schools joined. One teacher wrote, "Our students think differently now. They believe again." Daniel smiled as he read the message. This is it, he thought. This is why I started. His mission was no longer about him, it was about rising generations. If he could shift minds young, they could shift the world forever. He returned to his hometown to speak at his old school. Walking the halls, he saw kids just like he once was, quiet, uncertain, full of hidden dreams. On stage, he shared his story, not as a hero, but as proof you don't need to be special, just willing. After the speech, a shy girl handed him a note. It read, "I didn't believe in myself until today. Thank you." He held the note gently, knowing it was more valuable than any dollar he had ever earned. That was real legacy, a changed mind. He built a nonprofit arm of Growth Circle to serve underfunded communities. Coaching, tools, internet access, support. His team grew. Volunteers joined. The ripple effect spread far beyond his control, and that was the goal all along. Daniel still journaled every morning. Legacy is not what you leave behind, it's what you build every day in others, he wrote. That mindset kept him grounded. His life wasn't a race anymore. It was a ripple, a message sent forward through action. He published his second book, Led from Within. It wasn't about tactics, it was about soul, belief, purpose. It reached bestseller lists. But again, Daniel didn't chase that. He chased stories. Reviews came in. This changed how I see myself. His podcast crossed 1 million downloads. Growth Circle hit 2,000 active members. He gave more than he kept. He earned more than he ever imagined. But most of all, he grew into a man of vision, proof that anyone can transform, starting with one thought. One evening, Daniel sat at his desk and opened his very first journal. Inside was a page filled with shaky handwriting. I will earn $10,000 a month. I will live with freedom. I will inspire others. Tears filled his eyes. Every word had come true. But something else hit him. He had outgrown those goals. Not because they were small, but because his soul had expanded. Now he aimed not just to inspire others, but to multiply leaders who would rise higher than he ever could. He created the Legacy Leaders Program, mentoring new coaches and creators to lead with value and vision. My time on stage will end someday, he told them, but the message must live on through you. That was his true wealth, passing the torch. At a quiet retreat in the mountains, Daniel sat with Claire. She had watched his journey from the beginning. "You've become everything I hoped you would," she said. Daniel smiled. "Because you believed in me before I did. Thank you." They walked through a forest trail, talking about life, faith, and impact. Claire said, "What's next for you?" Daniel paused. "Peace, growth, giving. I don't want to chase anymore. I just want to keep planting seeds." He had learned the greatest secret. Success is not about how much you keep, but how much you give, grow, and guide. He whispered his new mantra, build people, not just profits. Build purpose, not just products. Years later, books were written about Daniel. His students became teachers. His messages lived on in podcasts, videos, and classrooms. But the real legacy was invisible, the mindset shift he sparked in thousands of lives. At his final public talk, now older and gray, Daniel stood before a packed auditorium. "You don't need to wait for a sign," he said. "You are the sign. Think boldly. Act daily. And you'll grow richer than you ever imagined in every part of life." As the crowd stood to applaud, Daniel stepped back from the microphone. His heart was full. His work wasn't finished, but his foundation was firm. And it all started with one idea that changed his world. Think and Grow Rich. Part 7. The Rise of Malik. Malik sat on the edge of his bed, laptop open, eyes wide. He had just finished Daniel's live call in the growth circle. The words echoed in his mind, "Your past is not your prison. Your habits are your keys." Something inside him shifted. Malik was 19, a college dropout, struggling with self-doubt. He lived in a noisy apartment with his mom and 2 younger siblings. Money was tight. Hope was tighter. But Daniel's words felt personal. "Start with belief," he had said, "then build." Malik pulled out an old notebook and wrote 3 words. "I will rise." It didn't feel real yet, but he kept writing. "I will help my family. I will build a business. I will live with purpose." That night, he didn't sleep much. But his dream finally woke up. The next morning, Malik made a plan. He would start a YouTube channel for high school students who struggled in math just like he once had. He didn't have the best camera or mic, but he had heart, and that was enough to begin. His first video was shaky and awkward. His voice trembled. He only got 11 views. But one comment stood out. "This helped me understand fractions for the first time." Malik smiled. That one message meant more than 1,000,000 views. He messaged Daniel, unsure if he would reply. To his surprise, Daniel answered the next day. "Proud of you, Malik. Consistency beats perfection. Keep serving." That sentence became a banner in Malik's mind. Keep serving. Malik set a goal, 1 new video every week, no excuses. No delays. He learned editing on free software. He used sunlight from his window. Slowly, his message improved. His voice grew stronger. His audience started to notice. In 3 months, his channel passed 1,000 subscribers. He couldn't believe it. He wasn't famous, but he was useful. Teachers began sharing his content. Students messaged him with gratitude. He had become the voice he once needed. But challenges returned. His laptop crashed. His Wi-Fi cut out. His uncle mocked him. Nobody gets rich talking to a screen. Malik felt crushed, but then he remembered Daniel's story. Obstacles are part of the path, he told himself, not the end. He saved every dollar from tutoring and bought a second-hand laptop. "I'm investing in my future," he said proudly. His friends started to laugh less and ask more. "How do you stay so focused?" Malik would reply, "Because I've seen what drifting does." He started a small digital course, Math Made Simple, and offered it for $9. He expected a few sales. He made 47 in the first month. $423 may not seem like much, but to Malik, it was proof that his knowledge had value. He used part of the money to buy groceries for his mom. When she asked where it came from, he said, "From my voice." "From believing." She hugged him tight. "Your father would have been proud." Malik wiped a tear. He had never heard her say that before. One day, Daniel invited Malik to speak at a live call. Nervous, Malik almost said no. But Daniel reminded him, "People need your story. You're ready." That night, Malik shared his journey. Dozens of members messaged him after, "You gave me hope." That's when Malik realized he wasn't just building a channel. He was building belief in others, in himself, and in the ripple effect of truth. Like Daniel had done for him, now he was doing for others. The legacy was alive. He created a new series on his channel called From Struggle to Strength. In each episode, he told real stories of people overcoming self-doubt. The series exploded. Comments poured in. His channel grew to 10,000 subscribers in 6 months. He took his first flight to speak at a youth conference. On stage, he wore a simple shirt and jeans, but spoke with fire. "You don't need perfect tools," he told the crowd. "You need a purpose, a process, and persistence." The applause didn't matter to him. What mattered were the eyes in the crowd lit with new belief. That night, Malik sat in the hotel lobby with his journal. He wrote, "I'm not just thinking rich anymore. I'm living rich in service, in meaning, in truth." He launched a community for young creators. He called it the Spark Room. "Every big flame starts with one spark," he said. It became a space for teenagers to learn, share, and grow. From 10 members to 500 in 3 months. Malik messaged Daniel again, "Thank you for believing in me." Daniel replied, "Now you're doing the same." "That's how legacies grow," Malik smiled. His voice had become part of something bigger than him, and it was just the beginning. Part 8. Generations of Growth. The Spark Room was no longer a small community. It had become a global network. Teens from over 20 countries joined weekly Zoom calls to learn mindset, leadership, and personal growth. What started as a small idea was now a global spark. Malik built a team of young volunteers. Each one brought their own strength: design, outreach, coaching, content. He didn't hire experts. He raised leaders. "We grow together," he told them. "This is not a business. It's a movement." He created weekly challenges. Build a new habit, read a chapter, help one person. Members posted their wins. "I helped my sister believe in herself. I gave my first speech today. I finally forgave myself." The growth was real, personal, deep. One story stood out. A girl named Eliza from the Philippines messaged Malik, "Your videos helped me stop hating myself. I want to help others now." Malik replied, "Then it's time to lead." She became the first international Spark Room coach. Eliza started a branch in her town, meeting weekly with teens at a local library. Malik cried the first time she shared pictures. It was proof. Leadership multiplies when rooted in purpose. He realized he wasn't building a brand, he was building nations of growth. Malik launched the Spark Tour, visiting different cities to hold live events funded by donations and product sales. Each stop included talks, workshops, and team-building games. His goal: show young people that their minds are powerful tools. At one event in Kenya, a student named David said, "I've never seen someone who looks like me doing this." Malik smiled. "Now they will, because it starts with you." David later started a podcast, sharing stories from his village. The movement inspired a documentary. A young filmmaker followed Malik across 5 countries. The film, Voices of Spark, premiered online and reached over 100,000 views in 2 weeks. Stories moved hearts. Faces brought hope. Words became walls of strength. Daniel watched the premiere with pride. He called Malik afterward. "You've gone further than I ever dreamed," he said. Malik responded, "Because you planted the first seed." They didn't talk like mentor and student anymore. They spoke as brothers of belief. Malik's content shifted. He now focused on legacy thinking, living today in a way that blesses tomorrow. "Think beyond your own goals," he told his audience. "Ask yourself, who else wins if I don't quit? That's where true power lives." He published his first book, Spark the Shift: Simple, Clear Lessons for Young Dreamers. It topped digital charts in the education space. Schools reached out, asking for bulk orders. He offered discounts, saying, "This book belongs in every student's hands." The Spark Room launched a mentor program. Older members coached new ones. Everyone served. Everyone grew. It was no longer just about Malik's voice. It was about a choir of new leaders rising up with belief and boldness. Eliza, David, and others began creating their own courses, books, and local events. They used the same mindset principles: clarity, vision, service, action. Malik called it the Spark Code. Not a system, but a way of living, a path of becoming. Malik received an invitation to speak at an international youth summit. At 23, he was one of the youngest keynote speakers ever. On stage, he told the crowd, "You don't need permission to begin. You only need courage to continue. After the event, a mother approached him. My daughter stopped hurting herself because of your podcast. Malik hugged her tightly. That's why we never stop, he whispered. Some moments were bigger than words. This was one of them. His podcast hit 500,000 downloads. His YouTube channel passed 100,000 subscribers. But none of that compared to the private messages. You changed my life. Your words saved my dream. You made me believe again. That was his true scoreboard. He now led a team of 40 volunteers across the world. Some were former students, some were friends. All were purpose-driven. They met monthly to share wins, fix problems, and grow stronger together. They didn't just build projects, they built people. Malik's mom often watched from the doorway as he worked. She'd smile quietly. Your father would have been amazed, she once said. Malik replied, He's with me every time I speak. Legacy wasn't behind him, it was inside him. And in every city, every call, every book, one truth rang clear. The spark was no longer a flicker, it had become a fire. And that fire was now lighting a generation. Part 9. The Global Flame, Ending. The Spark Room was no longer just a community. It had become a movement, a voice, a blueprint. Governments, schools, and global organizations reached out to partner. What began in a bedroom now stood on stages around the world. Malik formed the Global Spark Foundation, a nonprofit focused on mental health, leadership, and digital education for youth. Its mission was simple: build minds that build nations. Its reach: over 1 million young people in under 3 years. The foundation launched a global online school Spark Academy. It taught personal growth, money skills, emotional intelligence, and digital tools. The goal was clear: give every teen the education traditional schools forgot to offer. Each module included videos, journals, challenges, and peer groups. It wasn't just a course, it was a system of transformation. Countries like India, Nigeria, Brazil, and Egypt adopted it in national pilot programs. Daniel, now retired from public speaking, served as the foundation's advisor. He watched Malik with pride, knowing the dream had outgrown him, and that's what true legacy means. You've made the vision bigger than all of us, he told Malik. In 2029, the United Nations invited Malik to speak on youth empowerment and future education. At 27, he stood before world leaders not with notes, but with a mission. Change begins in the mind, he said. Empowered youth don't need saving. They need support. The room stood in ovation, not for fame, but for truth. Malik represented every silent dreamer who once thought they weren't enough. Now they had a voice. And it spoke through him, loud and clear, ... Back home, Elisa led the Asia branch of the Spark Foundation. David trained local leaders across Africa. Thousands of young leaders now carried the torch, building businesses, writing books, teaching, leading. The spark had become a global flame. Malik no longer chased numbers. His focus was now on systems, sustainability, long-term shifts. We don't just start sparks anymore, he told his team. We build fire starters, people who light the world wherever they go. He visited classrooms where kids said things like, I want to help others, I believe in myself, and I am a leader. These weren't just dreams, they were declarations. The mindset had become the culture. Malik's third book, Flame Keepers, told stories of young people rising against the odds and building impact. It became required reading in multiple university leadership programs. Professors invited him not as a guest, but as a case study. He remained grounded, still journaling daily, still mentoring, still waking with purpose. His mission never changed: spark belief, spark action, spark legacy. Even as the world applauded, he stayed close to the original fire that started it all. In a quiet moment, he returned to his old room. It was smaller than he remembered, but sacred. On the desk sat his first notebook. He opened it, heart pounding. On the first page were the words he wrote at 19, "I will rise." He added one final sentence, "and I did." Then he smiled, not for the fame, not for the numbers, but for the journey. For every no that became a yes. For every fear that became a fight. For every doubt that became a declaration. On his last podcast episode before stepping back, Malik said, "This will be my final message for now. But remember this, your spark matters. Don't wait to feel ready. Start where you are. Speak what you believe and light the fire for someone else." His voice trembled not with fear, but with peace, because the mission was no longer his alone. It now lived in others. In Eliza, in David, in every teen who ever whispered, "Maybe I can." They didn't just think rich. They lived rich. They gave rich. As the sun set that evening, Malik stood outside, watching kids play in a park where he once sat lost in thought. He didn't need applause. He didn't need attention. He had something greater impact. And in the quiet of that moment, a boy ran past him shouting, "One spark can change everything." Malik smiled, nodded, and walked on. The flame was alive. And the world would never be the same again.